Hello, guys. हेलो, सुनाई पड़ रहा है? हेलो, डायबिटीज इंसिपिडस एंड फास्फेटूरिया अल्फा अल्फा, chronic appendicitis. Alpha alpha chronic appendicitis act as a fat producer, correct tissue waste. Deficient lactation increases quality and quantity of milk. Alpha alpha deficient lactation. Alpha alpha deficient. Alpha alpha deficient lactation increases quality and quantity of milk in nursing mothers. Dose, the best results are elicited with material dose. Alium Cepa. Red onion. Sensation of glowing heat on different parts of the body. Headache ceases during menses. Headache ceases. Alium Cepa headache ceases during menses. Headache ceases during menses. Returns when flow disappears. Headache ceases during menses. Returns when flow disappears. Glowing heat in rectum. Glowing heat in rectum. Increased secretion of urine. Increased secretion of urine with coryza. पानी दे दो मेरे को एक बॉटल. Increased secretion of urine with coryza. Singer's cold, worse in warm room and towards evening. Singer's cold, worse in warm room and towards evening, better in open air. Singer's cold, worse in warm room and towards evening, better in open air, is presented by this remedy. Alium Sativa, garlic. Adapted to freshly subject with dyspepsia and catarrhal condition. Alium Sativa, garlic. Adapted to fleshy subjects with dyspepsia and catarrhal affection. High livers. Patient who eat a great deal more, especially meat, than they drink. Non-vegetarian drugs. Brownia, Lycopodium. Non-vegetarian drug. Brownia, Lycopodium nux, Colocynth digitalis, ignatia. Colitis with pathological flora. Sensation of a hair on a tongue or throat. Of hair on tongue or throat. Eruption on vagina, breast and vulva during menses. Complementary arsenic. Aloes. Aloes. Sclerotinia. Aloes. An excellent remedy to aid in re-establishing an excellent remedy to add re-establishing physiological equilibrium after much dosing, where disease and drug symptoms are much mixed. Okay, disease and drug symptoms are mixed. There is no remedy richer in symptoms of portal congestion and none that has given better clinical result, both the primary pathological condition and secondary phenomena. The rectal symptoms usually determine the choice. The rectal symptoms. It is the best remedy for hemorrhoids. Rectal symptoms usually determine the choice. Diarrhea after beer. Marked redness of lips. Diarrhea after beer. Marked redness of lips. Longing for juicy things. Longing for juicy things. Sensation of plug between symphysis pubis and os. Sensation of plug between symphysis pubis and os coccygeus. When constipated, dissatisfied, and angry about himself, alternated with lumbago. When constipated, dissatisfied. When constipated, dissatisfied, and angry about himself, alternative with lumbago. Lumbago in the sense back pain. Lumbago. Lumbago means back pain. Uh, Headache after stool, compelled to make eye small during pain in forehead. After eating, flatulence, pul- pulsation in rectum and sexual irritation. Weak, weak feeling as if diarrhea would come on. Lumbago alternating with headache and piles. This is the important symptoms in Aloes. Lumbago alternating with headache and piles. Headache and piles. Uh, Al- Alstonia. Alstonia, malarial disease with diarrhea, dysentery, anemia, feeble digestion. Alstonia, malarial disease with diarrhea, dysentery, anemia, feeble digestion as the general condition suggesting this remedy. A tonic after exhausting fever. Camp, diarrhea, bloody stool, dysentery, diarrhea from bad water and malaria. Aluminum. Aluminum. Common potash alum. Mental paresis. Mental paresis, dysphagia, especially to liquid. Now I'm going to read the drug alumin. In common name is common potash alum. Mental paresis, dysphagia, especially to liquid. Dysphagia, especially to liquids. Okay, unable to swallow the liquid. Pain in the esophagus. Hardening of tissue to tongue. Hardening of tissue of tongue, rectum, uterus, etc. Ulcer with indurated base. Marble-like masses pass, but rectum still feels full. Menses watery. Menses is watery in alumin. Alumin. Constricted feeling around limb. The very highest potency have proved efficacious. Powered alum. Okay. Alumina. This is the important remedy. Alumina. Alumina dispositions to cold in head and the common name is oxide alumin argilla. Dispositions to cold in head and eructation in spare dry thin subjects. Dispositions to cold in head and eructation in spare dry thin subject. Delicate diarrhea children, product of artificial delicate children products of artificial baby food. Suicidal tendency when seeing knife or blood. Suicidal tendency. Suicidal tendency when seeing knife or blood. Left-sided abdominal symptoms. Vertigo with nausea. Uh, Left-sided abdominal. So vertigo with nausea better after breakfast. Pain in kidney. Pain in kidney with mental confusion. Pain in arms and fingers as if hot iron penetrated. Confused as if personal identity. Confused as to personal identity. क्या topic Materia Medica, repertory, organ of medicine. Okay. Evacuation preceded evacuation proceeded by painful urging long before stool and then straining at stool. Even a soft evacuation preceded by painful urging. Evacuation proceeded by painful urging long before stool. And then straining to stool. Condiments produce cough, spinal degeneration and paralysis of the lower limb. Spinal degeneration and paralysis of lower limb. Ambragracia, ambergris, a morbid secretion of the veil. Ambergris, morbid secretion of. Music aggravates symptoms. Ambragracia. Music aggravates the symptoms. Ebullition and pulsation after walking in the open air. One-sided complaints for it. Time passes slowly. Ambragracia. Time passes slowly. There are a lot of medicine for time passes slowly. Great remedy for the aged when impairment of all function, weakness, coldness and numbness, usually of single parts, finger, arm, etc. Okay. Dwell upon unpleasant things. Rush of blood to head when listening to music. Rush of blood to head when listening to music. Distension of stomach and abdomen after midnight. Ambragracia, distension of abdomen and stomach after midnight. Sensation of coldness in abdomen, pain in bladder and rectum at the same time. Pain in bladder and rectum at the same time. Asthmatic breathing with eructation of gases. Palpitation with pressure in chest as of a lump lodged there. As of chest was obstructed. Conscious of the pulse. Okay, palpitation with pressure in the chest of the lump lodged there. Palpitation in open air with pale face. Palpitation in open air with pale face. Coldness of body and twitching of limbs during sleep. Opposite agaricus. Agaricus. Better slow motion. Ammonium carb. Ammonium carb. Okay. Ammonium carb. Heaviness in all organs. Talking and hearing others talk affect greatly. Bleeding piles. Ammonium carb. Bleeding piles worse during menses. Ammonium carb. Bleeding piles worse. Bleeding piles worse during menses. Erysipelas in the aged with brain symptoms. Eczema in the bends of extremities. This is important symptom. Eczema in the bends of extremities between legs, about anus and genitals. Forgetful, ill-humored, gloomy during stormy weather. Forgetful, ill-humored, gloomy during stormy weather. Tip of nose congested. Pressing teeth together sends shock through head, eyes and ears. What is ammonium carb? pressing teeth together sends shock through head, eyes, and ears. Aversion to the Aversion to the other sex. Aversion to the other sex is one more remedy, that is pulsatil, I think. Yeah, aversion to other sex, opposite sex. Tearing in joints. One second. इतना क्यों गैप गैप कर रही है? ये भी तो So I was reading the ammonium carb. Pressing teeth together sends shock through head, eyes, and ears. ये वाली बुक्स रख देता हूँ मैं नीचे, so that it will be easy for me to read. Aversions to other sex. Tearing in joints relieved by heat and bed. Incline Aversions to the other sex. Tearing in joint relieved by heat and of bed. Ammonium muriaticum. Ammonium mur. Ammonium muriaticum ceremony. The head and chest symptoms are worse morning. The abdominal in the afternoon. The pain in the limbs. The skin and febrile symptoms in the evening. Abdominal symptoms appear during pregnancy. Abdominal symptoms appears during pregnancy. Excessive fatty deposition around abdomen. Ammonium muriaticum. Excessive fatty deposition around abdomen. Green mucus stool alternate with constipation. Diarrhea, greenish mucus stool and navel pain during menses. Icy coldness between shoulder not relieved by warm. Covering followed by itching. Subacute low grade fever due to unhealthy climate. Subacute low grade fever due to unhealthy climate. Cough with profuse salivation. Cough associated with catarrh and affections of liver. Desire to cry but cannot. Desire to cry. What a symptom. Desire to cry but cannot. Desire to cry but cannot. Mist before eyes. Optical illusion in patient incipient cataract. Capsular cataract. Sore spot behind vulva relieved by eating. Hemorrhoids after suppressed leukorrhea. Okay. Pain in feet during menses. Anacardium. Marking nut. I am going to read the anacardium drug, which is marking nut. Its skin symptoms are similar to rush, and it's proved anacardium. Its skin symptoms are similar to rustox, and it has proved a valuable antidote to poison oak. Intermittency of symptoms. Fear of examination in anacardium. Fear of examination in student. Absence of all moral restraint. Coryza with palpitation, especially in the aged. Cough coryza with palpitation, especially in the aged. Cough excited by talking in children after fit of temper. Hallucination thinks he is possessed of two person or wills. Hallucination. Okay, anacardium and platina is also there. Petroleum is there. Petroleum is there. He is, yeah, petroleum. He is possessed with two persons or wills. Anxiety when walking as if pursued. Senile dementia. Okay, senile DEMEN. Dementia. Senile dementia. Objects appear too far. Warts on palms and hands. Spells of sleeplessness. Spells of sleeplessness lasting for several nights. Antimonium Ars. That is the best remedy for emphysema. Antium Ars. Antimonium Ars. Found useful in emphysema with excessive dyspnea and cough with much found useful in emphysema with excessive dyspnea and cough with much mucus secretion. Worse on eating and lying down. Worse on eating and lying down. Catarrhal pneumonia associated with influenza. Catarrhal pneumonia associated with influenza. Inflammation of eyes and edema. Ammonia, antimonium crude. Antium crude. Black sulfide, black sulfide of antimony. All the conditions are aggravated by heat and cold bathing. Heat and cold bathing. And an absence of pain where it could be expected is noticeable. Oh, okay. Gout with gastric symptom. Gout with gastric symptoms. Headache with great loss of hair. Headache with great loss of hair. Subacute eczema about mouth. Gouty metastasis to stomach and bowel. Diarrhea alternate with constipation, especially in old people. Antium crude. Antium crude. Diarrhea alternate with constipation. Diarrhea alternate with constipation, especially in old people. Eczema with gastric derangement. Continual drowsiness in old people. Much concerned about his fate. Much concerned about his fate. Cross and contradictive. Whatever is done failed to give satisfaction. Cracks in corner of mouth. Cracks in corner of mouth. Toothache in hollow teeth. Rough voice from overuse. Before menses, toothache, menses too early and profuse. Loss of voice from becoming overheated. Complementary sulfur. Antium crude is complementary to sulfur. SULPHUR sulfur. Antium tart. Gastric affection of drunkards and gouty subjects. Antium tart is homeopathic to dysuria, strangury, hematuria, albuminuria, catarrhea of bladder and urethra, burning in rectum. Antium tart is homeopathic to dysuria, strangury, hematuria, albuminuria, catarrhea of bladder and urethra, burning in rectum. Sensation of coldness in blood vessels. Antium tart sensation of coldness in blood vessels. Warts on glands penis. Nausea produces fear with pressure in precordial region, followed by headache with yawning and lacrimation and vomiting. Diarrhea and eruptive disease. Pustular eruption leaving bluish red mark. Dyspnea by eructation. Sensation of heavy weight in coccyx dragging downwards all time. Antium tart acts indirectly on the parasite by stimulating the oxidizing action of the protective substance. Vertigo alternate with drowsiness, incessant quivering of chin and lower jaw, jalsemium. Thirst for cold water little and often, and desire for apple fruits and acids generally. Thirst for cold water, this is okay, little and often, and desire for apple, DESI, desire for apple fruits and acids generally. Anthracene. This nosode has proven a remedy in epidemic spleen disease of domestic animals and in septic inflammation. Bad effects from inhaling foul odor. Anthracinum. Bad effects from inhaling foul odors. Apis mellifica, the honeybee. Styes also prevents their recurrence. Styes also prevents their recurrence. Styes. Okay. Apis. Stupor alternating with erotic mania. Vertigo with sneezing, worse on lying or closing eyes. Menses suppressed with cerebral and head symptoms, especially in young girls. Menses suppressed with cerebral and head symptoms. Menses suppressed with cerebral and head symptoms, especially in young girls. Feel as if he could not draw another breath. Okay. Fever after perspiration, natal rash, also with shuddering. Shuddering. One more remedy in shuddering is there. Capsicum. Fever after perspiration, natal rash, also with shuddering. Craving for milk, rustox, cancer of tongue, cannot concentrate mind when attempting to read or study. Cannot concentrate mind when attempting to read or study. Dull, heavy sensation in occiput as from a blow extending to neck, accompanied with sexual excitement. Coldness of tips of nose, sensation of fishbone in throat. Hemorrhoids with stinging pain after confinement. Cannot urinate without a stool. Okay. Can't urinate without stool. Can't urinate without stool. Mm. Bearing down as if menses were to appear. Sleeps after the fever paroxysm. After perspiration, natal rash, also with shuddering. Complementary natramure. The chronic of Apis. Natramure, chronic of Apis. Also Baritacar if lymphatics are involved. Now I'm going to read the apocynon cannabis. Apocynon. Diminished frequency of the pulse in a prime is a prime indication. Diminished frequency of the pulse is a prime indication. Thirst on walking. Metrorrhagia with nausea. Acute alcoholism. Arania. Arania spider cross. Purple cross spider. It is a remedy for the constitution favorable to malarial poisoning where every damn day or place favors chilliness. Patient feels cold to the very bones. Okay. Patient feels cold to very bones. Confusion better by smoking in open air. Lumbago, lumbo abdominal neuralgia. Pain in os calcis. Argentum met. Argentum metallicum. Silver. Argentum metallicum is a silver. Dull paroxysmal neuralgia over left side, gradually increasing and ceasing suddenly. The dull paroxysmal neuralgia over left side, gradually increasing and ceasing suddenly. The larynx is also spatial. The larynx is also spatial center of these drugs. Argentum metallicum. The larynx is also spatial center. Uterine disease with pain in joints and limbs. Uterine disease with pain in joints and limbs. Cough at night when lying down. Feeling of raw spot near suprasternal fossa. Palliative in टाइम क्या हो गया, 1 घंटे हो गए कि नहीं? 55. 10 को ब्रेक लूँगा, 10 o'clock. Wait a second. Argentum metallicum, legs weak and trembling, worse descending stair. Legs weak and trembling, worse descending stairs. Writer's cramp. Argentum metallicum is writer's cramps. Argentum nitricum. Argentum nitricum. Nitrate of silver. Head symptom often determine the choice of remedy. Head symptoms often determine the choice of remedy. Sensation as if a part was expanding and other errors of perceptions are characteristics. Painful spot over stomach that radiates to all parts of the abdomen. Gastralgia at beginning of menses. Sleep, sleepless from fancies before his imagination, horrible dreams of snakes and of sexual gratification. Suffocative cough as from a hair in the throat. Post-diphtheritic paralysis. Post-diphtheritic paralysis also gels. Sensation of sudden pinch, Judgeon. Flatulence after emotion. Flatulence. Symptoms of incoordination, loss of control and want of balance everywhere, mentally and physically, trembling in affected parts. Upper abdominal affections brought on by undue mental exertion. Thinks his misunderstanding will and must fail. Impulse to jump out of window. Argentum nitricum. impulse to jump out of window, fear and anxieties and hidden irritations, motives for actions, headache with coldness and trembling, headache from coldness and trembling, headache from mental exertion from dancing, hemicrania bones of head feels as if separated, useful in storing power of the weakened ciliary muscles, paratic condition of ciliary muscles, Argentum metricum, catara of smokers with tickling as of a hair in throat, gastritis of drunkards. Many people in a room seem to take away his breath. Many people in a room seem to take away his breath. Cannot walk eyes with eyes closed. Arnica montana. Leopard vein, a muscular tonic. Agro, agar, agoraphobia, fear of space. Fear of space. After mental strain or shock. Anthro, anthro, anthropophobia aerometallicum. Traumatism of grief, remorse, or sudden realization of financial loss. Feeling as if stomach were pressing against spine. Must lie down after every stool. Oh. Must lie down after every stool. Dysenteric stool with muscular pain. Feelings feeling as if fetus were lying crosswise. Violent spasmodic cough with facial herpes. Acne indurata characterized by symmetry in distribution. Prophylactic of pus infection. Complementary aconite ipecac. Arsenic album gives quiet and ease to the last moment of the life when given in a high potency. Okay, give quiet, feel long and very sore, worse after midnight, better warmth. Everything swallowed seemed to lodge in the esophagus, which seems as if closed and nothing would pass. Ill effects of vegetables diet, melons and watery fruits generally. After urinating, after urinating, feeling of weakness in abdomen, irritable heart in smokers and tobacco chewers, pulse more rapid in morning, infantile kala azar, infantile kala azar, infantile kala azar, Ars, uh, seaside complaints, natrum hemoptysis with pain between the shoulder, ars iode, ars iode, vertigo with tremulous feeling especially in aged, marked exfoliation of skin in large scales, leaving raw exudating surface beneath. Marked exfoliation of skin in large scale, leaving raw exuding surface beneath. Cancer of breast after ulceration has set in. Cancer of breast after ulceration set in. Chronic watery diarrhea in thysical subject. Thysical. Chronic watery diarrhea in P. Thysical subjects. Artemisia vulgaris mugwort. Artemisia vulgaris mugwort. Mugwort. Several convulsions close together. Oh, okay. Artemisia. Somnambulism. Get up at night and works, remembers nothing in the morning. Profuse sweat like garlic. Artemisia. Profuse sweat like garlic. Petit mal epilepsy without aura. Said to be better when given with wine. Aurum triphyllum. Aurum triphyllum is jack in the pulpit. Acridity is the keynote of this action. Its action. Aurum triphyllum. Acridity is keynote. Acridity is keynote. Large scabs on right side of the nose. Headache. Large scabs on the right side. Headache from too warm clothing. From hot coffee. Okay. Headache from hot coffee or too warm clothes. Wearing of upper lids, especially left. Corners of mouth sore and cracked. Painful cracks in the corner of the mouth is condorango. Corner of mouth sores and cracked is aurum triphyllum, and painful cracks in the corner of mouth is condorango. Asafoetida. Asafoetida. Sensation as if peristaltic motion was reversed and esophagus was driven from stomach to throat. Sensation as if peristaltic motion was reversed and sensation was driven from stomach to throat. Palpitation more like a tremor. Suppressed skin symptoms produce nervous disorder. Okay. Perceive pain from within outward. Mame rigid and milk in the unimpregnated. Deficient milk with oversensitiveness. Asarum europeum. ASARUM. Asarum europeum. Asarum europeum. Scratching on silk or linen or paper unbearable. Sensibility increases when even from mere imagination. Okay. Darting pains in the eye after operation. Smoking tobacco taste bitter. Worse in cold dry weather. Penetrating sound better. Better from washing in damp and wet weather. Okay. Asteria rubens, that is red starfish. Asteria rubens. Asteria rubens. colic and other suffering cease with appearance of men's flow. This position to pimples at adolescence, colic and other suffering cease with appearance of menstrual flow. Left breast feels as if pulled inward and pain extends over inner arm and in inner arm to end of little finger. Axillary gland swollen and hard and knotted. Psoriasis and herpes zoster worse left arm and chest. Aurum metallicum. Aurum met. Constant rapid questioning without waiting for reply. Metallic gold. Constant rapid questioning without waiting for reply. Knobby tip of nose. All the blood seems to rush from head to lower limb. Orgasm as if blood were boiling in all veins. Orgasm. Anthropophobia. Every opportunity is sought for self-destruction. Feeling of self-condemnation and utter worthlessness. Boils on scalp. Double vision upper half of object visible. Double vision upper half of object visible. Foul breath in girls at puberty. Aurum muriaticum natronata has more power over uterine tumor than any other remedy. Burnet. This is very important symptoms in aurum muriaticum natronatrum. Has more power over uterine tumor than any other remedy. Burnet. High blood pressure due to disturbed function of nervous mechanism. Avena sativa. Common oat. Bad effect of morphine habit, sexual debility, nervous exhaustion. Nervous headache at menstrual period. With burning at top of head. Occipital headache with phosphatic urine. Best tonic for debility. Best tonic for debility after exhausting disease. Acute coryza 20 drops in hot water hourly for a few doses. Acute coryza. Nerve tremors of the aged, chorea, paralysis, agitance, epilepsy. Sleeplessness, especially of alcoholics. Inability to keep mind on any one subject. Badiaga. So I'm going to read the Badiaga. Basdo disease, Basdo disease, that is Graves disease, twitching of left upper lid, eyeballs tender, aching in the eyeball, intermittent sore in the eyeball, coming on at 3 p.m. Lancinating pain in the pit of the stomach extending to vertebra and scapula. Baptisia tinctorium, wild indigo, Baptisia, a best remedy for typhoid fever. Typhoid fever. Baptisia in low dilution produces a form of antibodies to the bad typhosus, that is agglutination melon. Thus, it is raises the natural bodily resistance to the invasion of the bacillary intoxications, with which produces the typhoid syndrome. I told you, no. Intermittent pulse, aged, especially in the aged. Dysentery of old people. This dysentery of old people. Fear going to sleep. Fear is going to sleep on account of nightmare and sneezes of suffocation. Chronic intestinal toxicemias of children with fetid stool and eructation. Typhoid carriers after inoculation with anti-typhoid serum. Skin of forehead feels tight, seems drawn to back of head. Early deafness in typhoid condition. Soreness over region of bladder with diarrhea. Threatened miscarriage from mental depression, shock. Watching low fevers. All symptom worse from beer. Calibicromium. Which remedy is this? Baptisia and Calibi. All symptoms worse after taking beer. After taking BEER, beer. Great muscular soreness and putrid phenomena always present. Seaboard fever. Brownie and arsenic may be needed to complete the favorable reaction. Okay. Bry and ars may be needed to complete the favorable reaction. Okay. Ailanthus differs being more painful. Baptisia more painless. Okay. Baryta carbonate of baryta. Baryta is a cardiovascular poisoning acting on the muscular coat of heart and vessels. Blood vessels soften and degenerate, become distended, and aneurysm ruptures and apoplexy result. Brain feels as if loose. Coryza with swelling of upper lips and nose. Sensation of smoke in nose. Okay. Scabs around wings of nose. Teeth ache before menses. Gastric weakness in the aged with possibly malignancy present. Hemorrhoids protrude on urinating. Hemorrhoid, Baryta car, hemorrhoid protrude while urinating. Before menses, pain in stomach and small of back. Very averse to meeting stranger. Often useful in the dyspepsia of a young who have masturbated and who suffer from seminal emission, together with cardiac irritability and palpitation. Alternate diarrhea and alternate diarrhea, alternate dilatation and contraction of pupil. Alternate dilatation and contraction of the pupil. Cardiac symptoms after suppressed foot sweat. Paralysis of tongue, tumor, fatty tumor about neck, lung feels full of smoke, lungs feel full of smoke. Palpitation Palpitation when lying on left side when thinking of it, especially pulse full and hard. Numb feeling from knees to scrotum disappears when sitting down. Third to 13 potency, the latter to remove the predisposition to quinsy. Beta is slow in action, BS repetition. Complementary double camera, silicea and sorinum. Baritum uratica. Belladonna. Uh, Belladonna acts upon every part of the nervous system, producing active congestion, furious excitement, perverted spatial senses, twitching, conversions and pain. It has marked action on the vascular system, skin and glands. Epileptic spasm. Epileptic spasm followed by nausea and vomiting. Epileptic spasm followed by nausea and vomiting, scarlet fever, and also prophylactic. Here use the 38th potency. Patient lives in a world of his own, engrossed by his specters and visions, while the retina is insensible to actual object. A host visuals, hallucinations throw about him and come to him from within. He is acutely alive and crazed by flood of subjective visual impression and fantastic illusion. Hallucination sees monster hideous faces, delirium frights images, furious rages, bites, strikes, despair to escape. He is acutely alive and crazed by a flood of objective visual impression and fantastic illusions. Hallucination sees monster hideous faces, delirium, frightful images, furious rages, bites, strikes, desire to escape, vertigo with falling to left side or backward, correspond to the symptoms of air sickness in aviator gives as preventive. Bell for the extreme of typhoid toxemias. Autophony, hearing one's voice in ear, autophony. Hematuria where no pathological condition can be found. Cough with pain in left hip, barking cough, woofing cough. Cough with pain in left hip, barking cough, woofing cough. With pain in stomach before attack with expectoration of blood. Kine stroke respiration, cocaine, opium. Kine stroke respiration. Sensation of motion in bladder as of a worm. Strawberry tongue. Strawberry tongue is belladonna. Better in semi-erect position. Menses and lochia very offensive and hot. Headache from suppressed catarrhal flow. Boring of head into pillow, drawn backward and rolls from side to side. Hematoma oris. Sensation of motion in bladder as of a worm. Nocturnal sweat of genitalia. Phlegmasia alba dolens. Alternate redness and paleness of the skin. A high feverish state and comparative absence of toxemia. Sleeps with hand upper head. Bellis perennis. It is a injury remedy. Bellis perennis. Daisy. Traumatism of pelvic organs, autotraumatism, Autotraumatism expresses the condition calling for this remedy. Ill effects from masturbation. Traumatism of the pelvic organs. Autotraumatism expresses the condition calling for this remedy. Ill effects from masturbation. Okay. Complaints due to cold food or drink when the body is heated, and is affections due to cold wind. Complaints due to cold wind. Complaints due to food. Complaints due to cold food or drink when the body is heated, and is affections due to cold wind. Vertigo is in Vertigo in elderly people. Wakes early in morning and cannot get to sleep again. First, hello, hello, vertigo in elderly people. Wakes early in morning and cannot get to sleep again. First remedy in injury to deeper tissue after major surgical work. Venous congestion due to mechanical cause. Result of injuries to nerve with intense soreness and intolerance of cold bathing. Does not vitiate the secretion. It is precisely remedy for old laborers, especially gardeners, burn it. During pregnancy, inability to walk, itching on back and flexor surface of thighs, railway spine, bellies, railway spine, benzoic, benzoicum acid, acidum, benzoic acid, omits word in writing, vertigo inclination to fall sideways, circumscribed redness of cheek, useful after colchic fails in gout, after copaiva in gonorrhea. Colchicum fails in gout, okay. Useful after colchicum fails in gout, copaiva in gonorrhea, copaiva in gonorrhea. Child want to be nursed in the arms, will not be laid down. Pain suddenly changes their locality. Prone to dwell on unpleasant things in the past. Balis Berberis vulgaris. Berberis vulgaris. Okay. Berberis vulgaris. All Berberis pains radiate, and not worse by pressure, but worse in a various attitude, especially standing and active exercise. Sensation of tight cap pressing upon the whole scalp. Sensation of a tight cap pressing upon the whole scalp. Bubbling sore, bubbling sore sensation in kidney. Sticking pain in region of kidney, radiating thence around abdomen to hips and groin. Metatarsus and metacarpus feel sprained. Metacarpus feel sprained. Post-operative pain in lumbar region. Soreness with sharp pain following course of circumflexed iliac nerve to bladder with frequent urination. Sensation of cold on outside of thighs. Heel pain as if ulcerated. Stitching between metatarsal bone as from a nail when standing. Intense weariness and lameness of legs after walking a short distance. Circumscribed pigmentation following eczematous inflammation. Cold sensation in various parts as if spattered with cold water. Rapid changes of symptoms. Pains. Rapid rapid changes of symptoms. Pain changes in regard to place and character. Thirst alternate with thirstlessness, hunger and loss of appetite, etc. Urethra burn when not urinating. Pain in thighs and loins when urinating. Neuralgia of spermatic cord and testicles, ovaries and vagina. Blatta orientalis, Indian cockroach. Proved by Ishwar Chand Vidyasagar. Okay. Blatta. Proved by Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. A remedy for asthma, especially when associated with bronchitis. Indicated after arsenic when this is insufficient. Lowest patency during an attack. After the spasm of for the remaining cough, use the higher. Stop with improvement to prevent return of aggravation. Okay. Borax. Violent fright from report of gum even at a distance. Gun. Oh, gun. Borax. Very sensitive to slightest noise, not so much disturbed by louder ones. Very sensitive to slightest noise, not so much disturbed by louder ones. Gastralgia depending upon the uterine disturbance. Pain as if diarrhea would result. Pain as if diarrhea. Labor pain when frequent eructation. Eczema of toes and finger with loss of nails. Eyelashes turn inward. Red nose of young woman, natrum carp. Mouth taste bitter, pulse Bryonia pulse cuprum, taste of cellar mold, galactoria, cal- calcarea conium belladonnum, in nursing, pain in opposite breast, sterility, favor easy conception, out of breath on going upstairs, feeling of a cobweb on hands, itching on back of fingers, joints and hands, throbbing pain in tip of thumb. Thank you guys. So as I said, I read a Materia Medica today from, it's alphabetically start. I'm reading the book Apollo. So 2 days, yesterday I read and today I read around 1.5 hour. और जैसे जैसे टाइम निकलता जाएगा वैसे वैसे मैं अपनी ड्यूरेशन बढ़ाते जाऊँगा. 1 आवर से 2 आवर, 2 आवर से 3 आवर, 3 आवर से 4 आवर, 5 आवर भी कभी कभी करूँगा मैं. और आई होप जिसको भी मेरे साथ पढ़ना है आप आ सकते हैं. कुछ पूछना है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं. और जो जो AIPGT देने की सोच रहा है इस 2026 में, वो भी मेरे साथ बैठ के पढ़ सकता है. कोई डाउट है वो भी आप पूछ सकते हैं. ठीक है. सो थैंक्स फॉर वॉचिंग. थैंक यू सो मच.